Yeah? Yeah, I told him to call anytime during the show. Is he holding? All right, cool. I'll take him off in the beginning then, and then I'll just go from there. I won't. He's probably not going to be on the whole segment. Yep. Yeah, that's fine. Truth, leadership, and accountability. When systems falter, it is up to us to question, to challenge, and to demand better for our communities, ladies and gentlemen. So, Joe, conservative New Rican, welcome back to the Next Step Show, see, ladies and gentlemen. Hey, I'm going to get right into our a brief guest that we have today. See, I've asked this gentleman, Abdul Bounds. You've heard him here before, right? But let me tell you who he is. This is a guy that you would probably look at, right? Especially some of you, right, who live out in the burbs, this guy comes up and you may be like, I'm a little nervous, right? He's everything that many in the left would tell you, right, should be a victim, right? The way he looks, sometimes even the way he talks. So, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to introduce to you or reintroduce to you Abdul Bounds, a guy who's making it happen. Abdul, thanks for calling the Next Step Show. Pretty good, sir, and yourself. Oh, I saw on Facebook that you post things that you were heading over to emergency. I'm assuming you got in and out and you're doing okay. All right, I'm glad to hear that. So, Abdul, the reason why I asked you to call is because you've been doing quite a bit of things, some of the things that I didn't even expect that you were interested in doing. So, can you tell us a little bit about what's been going on since the last time we had you on? And to remind listeners, Abdul, we had Abdul on a couple months ago. He had given his opinion on the recent presidential. He's a Trump supporter. So, what do you got for us, sir? Hey, let me ask you a quick question, Abdul, because you live in a world where the stance that you have politically, your public support, because you haven't been very quiet about it, for Trump, puts you in a bit of a quandary. Some may even refer to you as an Uncle Tom. How does all that make you feel? Is it a falsehood? Hmm. Although I'll tell you, we live in a free society, so you'd assume that we are pretty free thinkers. So Abdul, what are next steps for you? You know, President Trump won, but I mean, we kind of lost on the conservative Republican side here in Monroe County, all our seats. What's next for you? So, Abdul, I want to ask you. I think I saw a post and we talked a little bit about it, and it's actually going to be right around the corner. So you should probably be talking about it pretty loud. You decided to run for school board, correct? All right. So, and freedom. Yeah. Schools where student learns, you know, all day long and held accountable and understand the concept of the value of having well having that education, being a life learner. And instead of teaching how to how to read, because you look at the reading and math for most, especially in the black and brown communities, are significantly low to the point where local newspapers write at a third, fourth, fifth grade level. One more question for you, Abdul. Are you going to the inauguration next week? So just to clarify for our listeners, you're asking for donations to help you bring someone with you that you're trying to get them to see the light. And where can someone go to learn more about that and potentially donate? Absolutely. Yeah, I look forward to meeting him. Absolutely. I'll point you, ladies and gentlemen, in the right direction. Ladies and gentlemen, you're listening to Abdul Bounds. One last question for you, Sue, because I'm running out of time here. I did want to ask you, sir. What's the one thing, if all else fails, what's the one thing you want to make sure that President Donald Trump does for you and your community? Thank you, brother, for everything that you do. Ladies and gentlemen, that was Abdul Browns. Abdul Bounds, I appreciate you and anybody like Abdul Bounds that said enough is enough. I'm taking charge. Hey, listen, we'll be right back right here in the next step show. You can give us a call, 585-346-3000 or toll free, yeah, 866-552-1009. Mira, regresamos. Thank you, sir. Ay, sí, hermano, sí, hermana. Mira, oye, cómo va por seguro. Why? Because the way that it goes, you need to be listening. Guess what? So you could either follow the right path or so you can avoid going in the wrong direction. Ladies and gentlemen, we had Abdul Bounds here in this first segment, and I love talking to him because I mean, this is a guy that grew up or is growing up and lives where I grew up, right? Where I spend most of my young adult life and my youth. We crossed the same barriers. He's doing everything he can to take. I mean, this is the stuff that I like. And guess what? Race be damned. This is a black guy, like I said earlier. He walks into your normal or into a mom and pop in Pittsburgh. They may lock up some stuff based on the stereotypical stuff that the left likes to put out there, ladies and gentlemen. See, that's the facade. That's the trick, right? Instead of sitting there saying things like, hey, be my apostle, Hocus Pocus should be doing something like, well, talking about Proverbs 31, verses 8 through 9, for example, where it says this. See, it says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, for the right of all who are destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Ladies and gentlemen, for those of you that call yourself conservatives, for those of you that say, I am an American and I believe in American values, Proverbs 31, verses 8 through 9 is your charge, right? To ensure that you're getting up, that you're not going to bed until you made sure that someone else, regardless of how they got there, has something to eat and is warm, right? You know what? 346 2000. Call me. Tell me I'm wrong. I dare you. Why do I dare you? Not because it's some challenge to fight with you, because it's some challenge for you to tell me that I'm wrong, that as conservatives, we need to set aside what put people somewhere and instead make sure that they can get to their somewhere, even if it means we got to help them across the border because they accidentally stumbled over. Anywho, we talk a lot about trickery. We talk a lot about people saying things to make themselves look good. Well, we talked about the CARE Act, right, in California. And we talked about how a lot of these politicians, yesterday we had Carl Hasty, the speaker in the assembly, right? I guess the big cheese is in there blowing smoke, right? Telling you all these things are hunky dory, and you know what? We should even have people on juries, and it's so sad that Governor Hocus Pocus didn't pass that piece of legislation. But these people have lied. And the thing is, they're in bed with so many others. Now, the part that we can't figure out, all we can do is assume and speculate, is why. Let's look at somebody like Mark Zuckerberg, for example, right? The dude that came up with the concept for social media as we know it today, Facebook, because he really shaped things as it pertains to social media in ways that Apple and the Windows guys shaped their world, right? Steve Jobs and the other doofus from Microsoft, I forgot his name, whatever. I call them all Marxists or wannabe slave owners, to be honest with you, because that's kind of how they act. They do think that, their whole perception of the way life should be. They're the ones that'll say things like congestion pricing in New York City. That's a great idea, so that I can get where I got to get, where you peasants go eat the rice and work the rice paddies like they do in a lot of these other places, right? But see, Mike Zuckerberg ain't no fool. He's a young guy. Actually, I listened to some of the things that he says in his mannerisms and talks. He kind of reminds me of one of my kids, with the exception that my kid isn't a liar. Well, at least I haven't caught him in a lie. How about that? But, let's take a look at what Mark Zuckerberg says about things like, like the reasons why he was putting people in Facebook jail and violating First Amendment all day. Now I'll tell you what. Let me read this proverb one more time before I play this first clip. All right. Proverbs 31, 8 verse through 9 says, speak up for those who cannot speak for themselves, right? For the right of all who will be destitute. Speak up and judge fairly. Defend the rights of the poor and the needy. Remember that verse, see, as we play this first clip, Bob? Scream and curse at his staff. But the part that gets me is, who owns Meta or Facebook or whatever the heck they're calling it these days, right? Who owns that? Who created that? Whose baby is that? Who's the one that should be sitting there saying, hola, mira, espérate un segundo, see? Because in this country, government's not going to tell me how I'm going to operate or run my country, or excuse me, my company. Right? But the thing is, he didn't do that. And see, when we talk about bamboozleness and people covering for people, let's not forget, if Kamala Harris won, would if he made that statement on a show where the president-elect was recently on it? Bob, if you don't mind playing cut two. We said no. But you know what's really bizarre to me is that many of you that are sitting here watching me on social media know that that's not true. He didn't say no, to the point where you and I would make fun about being put in Facebook jail. When in reality, what was happening was that he was taking away, according to him, at the hands of Biden, our First Amendment right. Wait, maybe it's a stretch, but when you take away someone's right to free speech to hide the truth, and you literally think that that individual's information that he's asking you to hide is going to kill people, and it presents, well, really a national security issue for you and I. Wouldn't that be treason? Whether he's following the instructions of a would be commander in chief? Oh, wait a minute. Zuckerberg, Meta, Facebook, Instagram, that's not military. The buffoon is not their commander in chief. But you see, he knows it. He even says he knows it, right? He's sitting there talking through this interview, talking about, listen, I heard Biden talk and it made me concerned. Can we play clip three? Oh, poor Zuckerberg. Poor Meta. It was so brutal. Hmm. Coming after their company. Ladies and gentlemen, you know what? 346 3000 lines are open, right? We just had a guy on at the beginning of the show telling you these people are bamboozling you, right? He felt it, he saw it, he wants people to come see because things like this are being pushed out there as reality. Tell me something, ladies and gentlemen. Because I know that a good portion of the people listening to WYSL, WLEA, and WCKR stations are very well informed. You pay attention. That's why you listen to these kinds of shows in this radio station, right? When, right, since the buffoon took office, when did you see any issues whatsoever as far as Facebook being persecuted, Facebook being come after the way they were coming after? Well, I mean, there's been a few social media outlets out there that have been shut down, if you recall, for saying the truth, right? At least one, and I can't remember that one's called. Actually, I couldn't even find it. That's how obsolete it went, right? Because they were allowing you and I to share truth. They shut that company down. And listen, if we think for 1 second that Zuckerberg didn't have anything to do with that, but oh, poor Zuckerberg, right? I mean, the fact that you and I and he allowed it after he knew that people were dying, he said it. They're killing people. Ladies and gentlemen, that's not defending the rights of the poor or the needy. That's not defending the rights of all. You know what? That's not even leadership. Now, let me show you something. This guy is a gazillionaire, Mark Zuckerberg. You can't buy or pay for honesty. All you can do, right, is hide a lie until we figure it out. And then you're done. Now, do I think that Zuckerberg's gonna, should go to jail for any of these statements that he's making? Of course not. What I want is for you to start taking a closer look, if you haven't already, at things like this. See, and that's okay. You don't have to do the research. I got your back, right? Let everybody know. Listen to the next step show. Y mira, support our sponsors like Flower City Collision on East Henrietta Road. Fender Bender, they're the ones to fix it. Mira, I'll be right back right here. See, on the Voice of Liberty. No cambies de dial. Thank you. Yes. Sí, un poquito de salsa y merengue para ustedes todos los días. Sí, just a little bit of something there, español. Why? Well, in Spanish, we like to use things like adobo and sazon, right? To kind of spice up our meats. We use a little bit of preferably homemade sofrito, yeah, where you put in all these different fresh herbs and spices, and then oh man, I'll tell you, ladies and gentlemen, someday, here on our social media, I'll create something and I'll eat it on TV, on the camera, and then you could vicariously share it with me. I'm just kidding, but listen, aquí in Monroe County, Wayne County, almost everywhere, you can find a restaurant that's Boricua or Dominicano or anything like that. Yeah, I mean Mexican food too, but I'm talking Caribbean flavor here. I'm talking chicharrones. I'm talking what do you call tostones, arroz blanco con habichuelas, y alcapurrias. I mean pasteles during the man. Listen, you got it. There's one on Clinton. There's one in Chile. Go there and check them out. Anyways, with all that being said, right as we were talking about going into break with the Zuckerberg dude and all the trickery, remember tomorrow, and actually not tomorrow, what am I talking about? In about half an hour here, Hocus Pocus is going to open up her magic trick show. right? And we're going to be able to hear and watch or say all these phenomenal things, and we need to be paying attention. Why is Zuckerberg tied to that? See, because all these people are full of crapola and working together. I do believe that the Biden administration absolutely called a Meta, and had a direct line to people like Zuckerberg. Absolutely. That I have no doubt. As a matter of fact, this guy even agrees. This guy, as in Zuckerberg, says, yeah, I'm a collaborator. I will strip your rights away from you if I believe it's in my better interest. Really, I will take your ability to share truth no matter what. And I went, and he even admits it. I went along with that until Biden made it weird. The next clip, please. But you know what? Go ahead and play Cup Five. Let's just finish what's after that. But people in the Biden administration, I get it. But Sir Zuckerberg, my question to you, where is the leadership? See, and I said this a billion times. Whenever you take to a camera, whenever you go to a microphone, whenever you open up to those airwaves and you're spewing stuff, whenever you open up a company, especially one like a social media or a podcast outlet that's disseminating information, and you stop that, even though you know that there's something wrong, well, again, that's treason. See, those are the kind of leaders that are leading our young people, that are leading these social media outlets that are impacting your children, that are squashing truth because some buffoon, even though they know it was wrong, collaborators, right? Even though they know it was wrong, they still allowed it, even though it was hurting you, and he wants to come on TV now. I don't know. Is he afraid of being sued? Is he doing the whole CYA because Trump is like, I know what you did? Whatever. Hocus Pocus is coming on the air in about a half an hour with her State of the State address. See, and I chose to talk about Zuckerberg first because she does the same thing that he does. And if you don't think that, again, that all these people are working on the same agenda, then you haven't been paying attention. Either that or you live in the matrix and are choosing to live in that matrix. Yeah, remember the movie The Matrix? You make the correlation there. Phenomenal movie. But that's where a lot of us spend our time on, right? I'm not going to beat up too much in this whole congestion pricing thing, right? But again, this is intentional. Zuckerberg coming out saying it was the Biden administration that made him do it is intentional. Nobody made him do anything. Uh, As a matter of fact, we know that because if you recall, there has been discussions in the past about social media or internet in general, presidents, and it just so happened when Trump talked about those things, well, that wasn't good enough for them. That was things that they were blocking. Come on, they kicked the leader of the free world off of things like Twitter. And this congestion, see, what does that matter? Well, check it out. See, the NTA has to rely on mapping, which is put together through various programs, including things like the Google mapping. Facebook has its own version of some of those things, and so do other organizations. But see, this whole thing with congestion pricing, like we pointed out the other day, is Kathy Hochul's way of saying thank you, rich people, and thank you for funding my next campaign and previous campaigns, right? And check this out. It literally took a Fox 5 New York, right? A local radio station reporter. This happened to her, where they accidentally, they claimed, due to a glitch in the MTA mapping, charged her $1.50 because that's the fee that Uber charges when you hail rides, right? Taxis pay 75 cents. And if you're entering the zone in your own vehicle, right, you pay $9 for each trip that you go, which can be depending how many times you drive. But if you're going back and forth, at least 18, right? But it took a reporter to catch this, and the glitch was simple. She caught a ride at the end of a driveway that was out of that pricing zone. Now it sounds insignificant, right? But the fact of the matter that this unnecessary tax, this unnecessary slave chain, this unnecessary hocus pocus saying, listen, you people down there, take your buses, take your stuff to the subways and the buses, right? You don't deserve cars, is now costing not just the rich folks. And $1.50 to you may be like, what the heck does he care about $1.50? Add that up. It took a reporter. How many people is Kathy Hochul, right, bamboozling? By the way, they are reporting that this program, this congested pricing program, reduced Manhattan traffic by 7.5%. The first week, removing approximately 43,000 vehicles from the street. That's 43,000 people like you and me, right? Not that rich folk, not the folk that can afford whatever it is that you throw at them for that matter. I'm talking about people like you and me that $1.50 makes the difference of whether or not I'm going to afford a pack of toilet paper or not. See, this is what I mean by paying attention. She wants you to go ride a subway that she's locked down, right, with military. All right. We've got Gestapo there. You have no freedoms on the subway anymore. At the cost of your freedoms, she told, and at least 43,000 people in that first week lost the ability to enjoy a basic right in this country, and that's to drive. And God, again, only God knows, and probably the MTA, and I'm sure the hocus pocus, how many people that 1.5 the $1.50 charge actually impacted. Again, but the bamboozleness doesn't stop. The bamboozleness just doesn't stop in this state, in this place. You got Zuckerberg sitting there spreading stuff nationally saying, oh, it wasn't me. And then you've got jokers here in the state that are exasperating all these types of philosophies and thinking. Well, for example, what do I mean? For example, he should be hocus pocus. The mayor of Rochester, Malik Evans, I am proud to announce on his behalf, because he already put it out there, that he's running for re-election. Right? He made that determination, or excuse me, that announcement after the other individual from Pittsburgh. Now, who cares, right? You got one guy saying, hey, I'm going to take a shot at this. I'm going to reduce crime and your taxes by 40%. All well, the current mayor, who's been around for a while, says he's running again because he's achieved so much, like reduced crime, right? Invested unmatched into affordable housing, right? And efforts to fix environmental disparities, because the environment is pretty racist. We'll be right back right here in the best station. See, aquí in the listening area, the Next Step Show on the Voice of Liberty. We still got time for a call. Don't go nowhere. I recognized it. Who sings that? Who's the artist on that? Hmm. Can you add that to my, if you can, to my folder? Yes. Oh, I have Mark written down, probably. I get going and the eyes get in the way. I Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Next Step Show. Sí, un shout out especial para mi amigos, sí, amigas over at Flower City Collision on East Henrietta Road. Yeah, right, not too far from that really long drive that gets busy during Christmas. See, Flower City Collision, you get a fender bender, give them a call, veteran owned. And this is the cool thing about them. It's all about integrity and it's all about you. Flower City Collision. Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to the Next Step Show. See, como dice, I was talking about Malik and his and his claim to fame and why he's running. See, and the crazy thing about it is this: we've got a guy that appears to be from or Indian of sort or somewhere from that area, and then you got Malik, who's black. Who else is going to show up? I tell you what, I surely hope that Republicans do put somebody up and a viable person that's willing to work hard, be everywhere, and do whatever it takes to win that seat because we can, right? Because check this out. This is the kind of bamboozling that Mr. Evans is trying to pull on you, right? He's coming out of his mouth. Can we please play cut six? Thank you. Oh man, I'll tell you. The Mike, thank you for calling the Next Step Show. All right. Hmm. So you think maybe he's coming out of that cloud that many of our young people kind of fall into, that trap from the left, that it's all warm and fuzzy stuff, and now he's realizing the realities behind it. Interesting. Hmm. I'm going to have to pay close attention to that, the Mike, and see if there's any validity to that over the time goes on. My only concern is, did he see the light? Because one of the questions I had written down was, is this guy Zuckerberg a man or a mouse? Right? But from your perspective, you think he's becoming a man now. I think he's what, in his 30s? Right, somewhere around there. The Mike, I appreciate the call, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, lines are open. Time's a ticking, though. But check it out, though. I'd love to hear from you. I'm on every day at noon. Give me a call, even if we got to come back to this. I want to know what you think. Does the Mike really have? Is he on to something? Are things shifting, or are things shifting from these people because they need to hide as Trump brings America back to its feet? You know, we were talking a little bit, and Mike, and the Mike, I appreciate your call, right? We were talking a little bit also about Malik, because Malik's involved. I mean, look at the city of Rochester and what's happening there, for crying out loud, right? And then he touts like he's doing a phenomenal job. And what really gets me is that when he made this announcement, people like, man, I'll tell you, people like Bronson and Bello sat there and sung these praises of him. I almost puked in my mouth. Sorry for the disgusting a little bit during your lunch, but listen to these words and try to hold it in yourself. Bob, I told you, ladies and gentlemen, it's okay. We can pause for a second here where you grab your napkin and kind of wipe up, because that I just really. Hey, shaking up Rochester, Lorraine Parsi, that host, thank you for listening in. She reminds me that Shashish Sinha is the Democrat from Pittsburgh that's running against Malik at this point. And the thing is this: where's the Republican guys? I want to see it. I want it to come out now. You know why? Because we have so much work to do, so many places to be. But I know we can take that seat. Ladies and gentlemen, you hear the bamboozleness? Remember, Bronson doesn't put his head above water unless there's something in it for him. And he's like a one-horse pony. And it's the pony that has an alphabet letters. And if you're not in that alphabet letter, guess what? He doesn't care. Not that I think he cares about them either. Letitia, thank you for calling the Next Step Show. We got to be a little quick. Say that again. Who? I'm sorry. Who were you referring to? Oh, yes, 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 yes. Now you deal with his policies every day, don't you? How, oh, you know what? What you need is a heart for the city. What you need is integrity. What you need is honesty and a passion for God, country, family. Letitia, if you don't mind, before you hang up, leave your contact with Bob, okay? And I'll make sure that we get a hold of you to expound on that discussion. Is that all right? Thank you, Letitia. Thank you for calling the Next Step Show. Hey, ladies and gentlemen, potential future mayor of the city of Rochester, Letitia, and I don't have her last name at this moment. Thank you for calling. But you see, I'm running out of time, so I'm not going to have time for these next two cuts. But I want to remind you something. Hocus Pocus, right? Who we could also say is Newsom Gruesom's junior, right? Because he's obviously her mentor. Listen carefully at 1 o'clock, because she is pushing and pushing extremely hard to be able to, right, lock you down because she wants involuntary commitment here in New York State. A Joe Digo? Oh, heck no. You want to know why? Because when you give a politician who thinks that you should be their apostles, yeah, a key to commit you, you will find more people crazy locked up than you will find in the street. And I guarantee you they'll all be people, yep, that look, act, and talk like you and me, regardless of skin color. Mira, be a leader, be a leader, be a leader. No te olvides the Next Step Show to conservative New York, La Voz de Libertad. We love you. And hey, God bless these United States of America. And don't forget, be that voice of liberty. Thank you very much, sir. Sounds good. Thanks. Bye.